This video is world's first match. I remember using the long step in this fight. Came on top from the double pull. I always use the same set of grips. Like I always have the near side hand controlling the collar, and the other one I try to control the hip or control the pants. Mm-hmm. The person is stepping on the hip. Look how he step on the hip. I control the pants.
Same grips that I used to.
Yeah, and I use the one that you talk about going to long step and then connecting to the leg drag.
Because like I feel like that's like, to be honest, like even like in Brazil, that's the only like the position, the technique that they do the most. Right?
Yeah, I think this is the beginning of like the long step. Like everyone used
I don't
to
remember
do this
doing
technique.
even like I don't remember people like studying like long step from lasso and stuff. It was always this one.
Yeah.
Long step to leg drag.
I remember drilling like 1,000 times this technique. So I think that what people can see here and the main detail, it's the grips that I use. So it's a set of grips that I use for knee slide a lot. So my left hand now it's controlling the collar. I have a knee slide position, but the person is stepping on my hip, and that it's hard to finish the knee slide because that foot keeps elevating you. It allows the reversal hiva hook to bring you up. And normally when that happens, I like to have a pant grip with my right hand. So if the left hand is controlling the collar, the right hand is controlling the pants. When I do the long step, I'm gonna try to pause now when I do the long step so you guys can see.
Yeah.
Look how far I am from my partner. I have the tripod. Look, and like I'm very far, I'm not on top of him, and it's easy to see his foot trying to reach my leg, and
like
he's having trouble. Like there's a lot of variation. If it was today, I think I would be a little bit more persistent, like towards like the head and trying to stabilize on the same side because I have a really good position there to stabilize. But he turned a lot too. I think that's what made me want to turn, and like I jumped to the other side. Look how he's trying to follow with the other leg. Like people in this division, like even the ones that are not the best, like they are very flexible, and they replace the guard pretty easily if you give any space. Look how I close the distance with the leg drag, and look how his foot's already like framing, like the leg is going in front of my chest, but I'm controlling the hip with the leg drag.
But you mentioned this before too, like from the light fighter division, you're probably, if not the only person that like would come on top, huh? Like a professor, like Ramon would say this all the time, huh? Like to be different, I guess.
He used to say all the time that people were training for like the double pull situation, and they would be good with that, but they would have trouble if like they were fighting against someone that was trying to pass the guard because people like
not used to
they were not training for that. They were not used to that. I think this was a very good long step. I'm gonna play one more time so we can see like it's going full speed, and I do it really fast too. Double pull, come up, I set the grips strong, and I use that to get you a good position fast.
Yeah, that's pretty much the first thing.
I tried the knee slide. You can see I try, and then I feel like he's stopping me. One, jump to the side, and then connect to the leg drag. It was a very good sequence. Like I like the way I stabilize over the hip. I don't try to go close to the head. I stay over the hip.
Yeah, more
and
like
I'm
leg drag.
very persistent, like stabilizing the position and like staying tight. Like I take my time there. This is also a really important detail. I think a lot of people would make the mistake of like trying to move too early and end up losing the position.
Yeah, you gave it 3.
Nice. This one here was in Japan, and the opponent is using lasso. I think like a very common guard in my division, and a very hard guard to pass too. I think like people normally have that strong grip on the sleeve, and normally I try to jump over the leg that is not on top of my biceps. So look how I get the same grips that I had in the other position. My grip on the collar, like always like the near grip, same side that I'm passing. And the other grip, the person is using the lasso. Like I'm trying to circle the hand already.
Yeah.
You can see like how the way the way I position my body, like it's exactly how you're teaching.
The
Like
head
I try to
position.
move away, and my head is getting on the chest. I think like this is a good example of like not like going on top of the person and moving around. It's
The
really
collar
easy.
grip too is like it's like a deep collar grip on the
Yeah.
collar.
Like this is good too, like how my forehead is on the chest and I'm away from him, not like already in the tripod position, trying to stabilize and pulling the collar with the right hand. My hand, I think, is still stuck in the lasso, but I was circling.
Yeah,
I
like-
used to connect to the knee slide, like.
Yeah, like how we mentioned too is just like using the long steps to combine techniques. I feel like it's like one of the most important things.
I used to do this too. Like I always talk about this in classes. Like my favorite way of like finishing the pass is the knee slide, and like I said when we were doing the common mistakes, like I used the long step to open the gap, and like this fight is a good example of me using the long step to open the gap and then attacking the knee slide right after.
When you would compete at these like these tournaments in Japan, you felt a lot of pressure just because of like being a world champion and just like the culture of the place.
Yeah, I felt really good. It was like my favorite place to compete because like the fans were like, I think like they were like very respectful and like they like had a lot of, I think like a lot of love like for like jiu-jitsu and for our work. So I think it was the place that I felt like the most like loved like as an athlete, and I don't know, I just felt happy competing there. Felt that I wanted to display good jiu-jitsu. That's why we were always moving a lot, trying to do cool techniques, because I truly feel like they were the ones that were enjoying the most. Like the crowd would like go crazy watching. Like lasso again. Like I'm trying to find the grip on the collar first before I go.
Before
I
you let
go the
go.
other collar so I can circle, right distance, attacking, my head in the right position, already in the tripod.
That's one thing that's important too. Like I always see it and I feel the same way. Like to be honest, it's hard for me to pass the guard if there's like no collar grips. Like there's like that's like the distance control, and if I don't have the same side, I feel like I have like the left one until I get the right one. Then I let go. Like I always need to be holding on to one of the
I
collars.
think especially in the gi is the way we maintain the pressure on top. Look how later on, like I use the long step, and then I'm able to finish the knee slide. So it was like a perfect way to enter the position that I like to pass. Look how I beat the knee shield, and then get close to the head, and then I finish the. I think this is a good example of like passing the lasso using the long step. Like people can watch and they can see it. Like in
I
the
taught this
competition.
one on not just passing the lasso, but going back to knee slide. Whenever
yeah?
the person locks like the bottom half guard, where
Yes.
they kind of like accept already not the guard pass, but they accept like just trying to lock your leg instead of trying to frame.
They're allowing you to get closer.
Yeah, exactly.
This match was also in Japan. I think it was the same tournament. We're in the same gi.
I want to go there and compete one day. Cause like I feel like competing too like worlds and big tournaments, sometimes you don't get to really display like your jiu-jitsu, right? Like some of like these tournaments, I feel like people are pretty much able to see it what I
our
see in
jiu-jitsu,
training. Yeah, exactly. Like even when like Professor Rafa would fight there, it's more the way how you guys train because that's why I asked the pressure question, because like it's hard to do it when there's a lot of
pressure,
or there's like kind of like a big tide on the line, so you kind of like you don't want to risk it, even if there is an opportunity to hit the movement, and you're trying to not just play safe, but use the right like techniques and not go too far out of like movement and be too loose, because like I don't know. It's like it's a big risk, right? You make a small mistake and it costs you.
But I think you're able to do that in the opens a lot. Like it's just different. Like we had, I think, like less of like the smaller competitions, and like you guys get to do a lot of the opens. It still feels like a lot like IBJJF, so like it's similar environment, but you guys are able to display a lot of like your good techniques, especially in the opens, because there's less pressure. Like for us, was like always like this type of tournament was like our opportunity to show like who we really are and like or jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, same grips, huh? Just grabbing the collar and shin slicing. Okay. Same thing I show the same way whenever I did in the master class. Whenever the person you're having trouble passing the reverse de la riva. Sometimes the person is really flexible or they have like a strong reverse de la riva, to use shin slice to connect to the long step. So you free your legs first and then you connect to the long step after. And we'll, like watching Teodore's fight, that was pretty much like the signature and the main thing, because like how we talk about all the time is just like he was doing that like 20 years ago. And just like I spoke about this during on the master class, that just comparing like the two, like the biggest difference. And I feel like back in the days, people wanted to get you more in the deep half guard or butterfly guard. So whenever he started doing shin slice and more like Troyano pass long step, people would like get lost and like started like making big mistakes.
In this one, I use like one detail that I like a lot, the hand cupping the hip like that, like with the elbow inside. I use this one a lot because it connects well with the knee slide. And like you said, shin slice first, I free my legs, and then like it's almost like a soft, like long step, like just to get away from the legs.
And the hand stayed on the hip, huh?